Welcome to Fright Fest and welcome to Tymaret Slaughterhouse. I hope you're excited. Hopefully you can survive. You don't get lost in the house. We would love to play first. Yes, we do. I play against Kruphix, so we'll see if Kruphix can fit in the slaughterhouse. I bet we can make it big enough for her to, or him or her to fit in here. But as far as opening hand goes, we've got Bajuka Bog, Faithless Looting. Yeah, I like this. Not too crazy of an opening hand, but I don't really want to go past... go down to 6. So let's go and keep on this one. Faithless Looting will definitely allow us to kind of start digging a little bit deeper into our library. And we care about the graveyard, so we can dump some stuff in there if need be. So let's go and lead off with the Faithless Looting. And then, there we go. And there we go, Gravecrawler. So we're going to put Gravecrawler into the graveyard. And I think we're going to get rid of another mountain. Because we got, that'll be 2 mountain dual sources, and with Gravecrawler in the graveyard, once we get down Tymaret, we'll be in a good position. So, and let's go and pass the turn to our opponent. But yes, welcome to the Slaughterhouse. In fact, we do have a gift shop set up at the end of the Slaughterhouse. If you do survive and you want to buy some of the meat featured during today's Slaughterhouse, may not taste too good, but hey, we do have a gift shop, so at least kind of keep that in mind as far as our adventure through the Slaughterhouse today. Let's go and get down Bajuka Bog. It's going to come into play temp. We're going to exile our opponent's graveyard. Get out of here, graveyard. And then pass the turn, and then hopefully we'll be online for Tymaret for next turn. We're playing Tymaret, the Murder King of the Slaughterhouse. 2 mana activation, sacrifice another creature. Tymaret, the Murder King, deals 2 damage to target player or planeswalker. Then for a 2 mana activation, sacrifice a creature, return Tymaret from your graveyard to your hand. Playing against Kruphix, God of Horizons, so sound those Simic alarms. But hopefully we can keep those Simic alarms like really low key in our graveyard, or at least really low key in the Slaughterhouse. Do you want to get down Tymaret, or do we actually want to go for Skirtstag High Priest? I think I like going for Skirtstag. Having Skirtstag online, especially in a graveyard recursion deck, is one of the best things that you can do. So let's go and get down Skirtstag High Priest. If they've got a counterspell, they've got it, but at least once we get it down, we get Gravecrawler going out of the graveyard. We do have a Sack Outlet with Viscera Seer. That'll be some really good Slaughterhouse action. So let's see if this spell's going to resolve. All right, there we go. Get down Skirtstag High Priest. Let's go to get down Mountain, and then we'll go and kick it back over to our opponent. So we're playing against Kruphix, God of Horizons. Indestructible Devotion 7 turns into a creature, and then you have no maximum hand size, and if you would lose unspent mana, that mana becomes colorless instead. So, long story short, they end up with a ton of mana. They start flashing in creatures while I'm giving commentary, and I don't know whose turn it is. And whenever I was first starting my channel, I hated playing against Kruphix because... let me see. Kruphix doesn't give their stuff flash, but they build up so much mana, and then they get down like Prophet of Kruphix, and then hold on, I'll tell that story in a second. Let's go ahead and get down. So at this point right now, unfortunately, we can't get down enough to go for Skirtstag. So let's actually just go for Tymaret the Murder King. I think I like that. We'll get down the Murder King, and then we'll get down Field of Ruin. And then hopefully we draw into another land source, another black source. That way we can go for a Gravecrawler out of the graveyard. Let's just go ahead and swing in for 1 because we just basically can't get enough creatures on the battlefield. So we're going to swing in for 1. Skirtstag High Priest is usually not used to swinging in, so I always like to imagine all those little skulls hanging off him, just kind of dangling around as they swing in. But yeah, I used to hate playing against Kruphix because... you know, that was when I was trying to learn how to balance commentary and gameplay. And, you know, I've been doing my channel for about 2 years now. You know, officially 2 years, and you know, there's still some times where I lose track of things, and so you can imagine when you're getting started trying to give commentary and good gameplay, and then they get down Prophet of Kruphix and start flashing stuff in. I'm like, I don't even know whose turn it is. It's like there's a couple times where I was like, man, I could have swore it was my turn, but it's not. I was going to get down Canyon Slow, and then yeah, we're going to go and play that. They did get down Kruphix. So let's see. So something that we can do is we definitely want to set up a board state to where we can start sacrificing some stuff. And actually, if we go for Gravecrawler, well, either way, we're kind of bottlenecked, unfortunately, on black mana. Let's go and get down Viscera Seer. That way, if there's some sort of exile effect, we can at least put them into the graveyard. And then, yeah, no, let's go and go for Faithless Looting. That's going to be better than going for any sort of activation, because once we do sacrifice a creature, there's just nothing that we can do. And then Gilded Lotus, that is wonderful. Let's go and get rid of Traitorous Blood into the graveyard. And I think at this point, we're going to get rid of Mark of Mutiny. That Phyrexian Tower might help out. We don't want Blood Artist in the graveyard. Yeah, they just don't have anything down at this point. One of these cards... Yeah, let's go and get rid of Phyrexian Tower. If we're going to get down Gilded Lotus, that'll be our big mana spell. If they do get down a really good creature, we should definitely hold on to one of our gain control spells. That's at least going to allow us to sacrifice something Okay, then let's go ahead and simply just go ahead and pass the turn to our opponent. Let's say for some reason they go for Secure Tri-Builder, they sacrifice Tri-Builder during their main phase, that will turn more of it online, then we can at least get a 5/5 demon. So at this point right now, we could have swung in for 3, but well, at least I like leaving up a Skirt Stag High Priest activation if possible, and especially for next turn, we can get down Gravecrawler and then get that activation going. So build up a nice little board state for this slaughterhouse. Okay, drawn to Refuge. Let's go and go Gravecrawler out of the graveyard. And let's go and get down Refuge. Let's go and go for Blood Artist. That way we can really kind of start to amplify some of these activations that we're going to be going for. Now at this point, we're actually in a really good position. They do have 7 cards in the hand. They've gotten down 0 creatures, so we're kind of Void Slime. Counter target activated, triggered, or spell. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Take care of Blood Artist. Do we want to go for a Tymaret activation at this point right now? We can't recast it, but we can deal 2 damage to our opponent by sacrificing Gravecrawler. And the good thing about these activations is that they're not tap abilities. So let's go and do that. We're going to target our opponent. Let's go and sacrifice a Gravecrawler. Well, since it's an instant speed activation, we can just do it during our opponent's turn. So let's just go and pass the turn. That way we can go for sacrifice Gravecrawler using Tymaret, and that will allow us to deal 2 damage up top, get a 5/5 demon, and then start going from there. Now, it is a bummer that we did get Blood Artist countered. That basically would have turned these Tymaret activations into about 3 damage per turn, essentially, and allowed us to gain some life. But at this point right now, at least we're kind of getting the Tymaret, not necessarily combo, but the synergy going of being able to go for basically just a 2-mana, what is it, Lightning Bolt, not Lightning Bolt, but yeah, 2-mana Bolt each turn for 3 damage. But we'll see what our opponent's going to get down. Hopefully if they grab something nice. Okay, so they're going to go for Curse of Swine. Let's go and go for a 2 damage up top to our opponent. We're going to go ahead and sacrifice Gravecrawler. That way it's going to go into the graveyard. Let's go ahead and go for a Skirt Stag High Priest activation, tapping down 2 more creatures. It's going to be a 5/5 demon. Then with Tymaret the Murder King, we can sacrifice a creature, return it from our graveyard to our hand. So let's go and make sure that it goes to the graveyard instead of the command zone. There we go. Let's go ahead and go for a Viscera Seer activation, sacrifice Tymaret. And this is pretty much why you want to have a sack outlet in a deck like this. Wake Dancer. Let's go and put that on the bottom for right now. That'd be nice to have with Tymaret, but at this point right now, it's not going to really do anything. Let's go and sacrifice Skirt Stag High Priest. Porphyros, God of the Forge. Yeah, I think I like that. Let's go and put that on top of our library, and then let's go and sacrifice Viscera Seer to its own ability. Okay, we're going to leave that on top because I actually like Porphyros. We can get down Gilded Lotus and then still go for Porphyros for next turn and then start to bring Tymaret out of the graveyard and kind of still keep that loop going with Gravecrawler. So, and let's see if they have some sort of answer for Demon, because once you get down a 5/5 Demon in the Slaughterhouse, you end up some really good value. Opponent's going to go for Rashmi whenever you cast your first spell each turn. So we can actually go for a Mark of Mutiny. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a sack outlet. That'd be, oh man, that'd be nice. We want to sequence it to where... Let's see. So we've got God of the Forge. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 total mana. 2 mana, sacrifice the demon, and then recast. Yeah, that's going to cut us off of mana going for Mark of Mutiny. We can try to go for that next turn. Let's go and swing it for 5. It's going to put them down to 22. And then, yeah, let's go for this Gilded Lotus. And let's go and go for God of the Forge. I like that. That's going to put us getting down God of the Forge. That's going to give us some really nice enter the battlefield damage on our opponent. And then next turn, now that we have down a Gilded Lotus, that's going to allow us to go for Tymaret. We can sacrifice the demon, go for Mark of Mutiny, and then get rid of Rashmi. Unfortunately, we were basically about 1 mana away from getting it on the battlefield and going for an activation. So just to kind of refresh on how that interaction works. So we do pay 2... colorless and a black to sacrifice the demon. That's going to bring Tymaret back to our hand. So that's going to be 2 mana. Cast Tymaret. That's going to be 2 more. Cast Gravecrawler. And that's still between Gilded Lotus. Oh, bummer. So they're going to go for Capsize. Okay, that's fine. They're going to capsize the demon. So it's going to keep us off any sort of creatures. But thankfully, if we just straight up just go for Mark of Mutiny, we can gain control of Rashmi and then still bring back Murder King out of the graveyard. So I'll take that. And then we've got 3 mana up at this point right now. That'll be a wonderful way to deal with Rashmi and bring back Tymaret. So I like it. Let's go and go. Yeah, let's go and go for that. Let's go for Mark of Mutiny. I love this card. Let's go triple red off Gilded Lotus. And swinging in with Rashmi is one of the best things in the world. Do we want to swing in for 3? Yeah, we need to be aggressive with this deck. Let's go and swing in for 3. If they've got a return spell, they've got it. Let's go and swing in for 3. That's going to put them down to 19. Let's go and go for Tymaret activation out of the graveyard. Very, very slaughterhouse right there. I love that. So we're going to return the Murder King out of our graveyard to our hand. We're going to get down the Murder King, get that nice into the battlefield trigger from Kruphix, and then let's go and cast Gravecrawler too. That's going to be 2 damage to our opponent, and then we'll make sure that we tap down Bojuka Bog with for Gravecrawler. That way it still keeps us online for any sort of activation that we need to go for with Tymaret. All right, opponent's going to go for Pongify. And you know what? That's okay. Yeah, that's fine. We'll still end up with a 3/3 Beast token, which is really nice. And we'll still get that 2 damage, too, which will be some really good pressure on our opponents. I'll take that. Let's go and get down Gravecrawler, and then next turn we can go for Tymaret. And actually, if we want to, we can actually go for Tymaret right now. But that'll be us swinging in for 5 next turn. We'll see. It's an activated ability. We'll see how the board state kind of develops. But I kind of like swinging in for 5, at least at this point right now. All right, opponent's going to bank up that 2 colorless mana to their mana pool, and we'll see what they're going to get going for the turn. But one of the cool things to keep in mind with Kruphix is that creatures you control get +0 until end of turn. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got at least 3 activations off of Kruphix, God of the Forge, and they're going to bounce the Jeweled Monkey back to our hand, and they did pay for buyback with that. So that's something that we do need to at least kind of keep in mind, that they can start bouncing some of these creatures. The good thing about Gravecrawler and Tymaret is that basically they just kind of keep recurring, which is always really nice. All right, so opponent's going to go for Gilded Lotus. Yeah, I think if we're going to close it out, that's going to be some good Kruphix action. So let's go and go for Tymaret, because we get some really good sequencing next turn with Kruphix, especially them bouncing that back to the hand. So it's going to bring Tymaret back to the battlefield, excuse me, back to our hand. We can recast it. We'll still probably get down Gilded Lotus, because that's going to force them to really kind of start chewing up their mana, dealing with Tymaret and different creatures like that. Let's go and go for Murder King. Puts them down to 11. Let's go and go for Gilded Lotus. Basically, we want to get enough stuff on the battlefield that's going to make it hard for our opponent to really just do something. Let's go for Relentless Dead. That's going to be 2 more damage. Let's go for Gravecrawler. Oh, look at that. Puts him down to 7. And let's go and pass the turn to our opponent. So, one of the things that Kruphix can do is really bank up mana. And thankfully, with us getting down Kruphix, really just kind of keeping that graveyard. All right, opponent's going to scoop it up. I will take that. That is a win for the Slaughterhouse. Always feels good to get a win against Kruphix. But you got to see what Tymaret wants to do. That's going to be dealing 2 damage to each opponent, get down something like Kruphix, and really start kind of just really closing the game out, and opponent couldn't deal with it. So the Slaughterhouse gets Kruphix. That's one for the Slaughterhouse. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Oh, don't forget to stop at the gift shop. We've got a lot of zombie meat on sale. I don't know how it tastes, but check it out. Might taste good. Might want to incorporate it into your diet. Anyway, if you enjoyed your time with the Slaughterhouse, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.